Hi everyone, I'm Renee Anderson and I am here in North Scottsdale, the Rio Verde area with the Royal Metro Fire Station 826, and
Welcome.
I have Shawn with me today. And Shawn, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, thank you for coming out here and joining us.
Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about Station 826 and makes you unique in the Scottsdale area.
So this particular fire station out here in the Rio Verde Scottsdale corridor is unique in a couple of different ways. Mainly because we're so far out here, and the area, as you know, is populated by equestrian estates and larger homes. One thing that's unique about our particular fire department is the way it's funded. This particular area is an unincorporated area within Maricopa County, which means there is no city that actually collects taxes to support fire services out in this area. So because in that absence, Rural Metro provides those fire services, but it has to be funded through a source of membership subscriptions, which means that they leave it up to the individual property owner to contract with us for fire protection or medical services. It's one of the oldest fire departments within Arizona. If you'll notice, the front of our truck has a sticker that says dedicated to Lou Weitzman, our founder, who in February was our 70th anniversary. We've been servicing the Valley communities for over 70 years now. And it all began what is now Central Phoenix with a fire that he was a journalist, came across this fire, and Phoenix Fire ended up stopping at the city line because insurance wouldn't cover them out there in the county. Well, obviously he was kind of like, my neighbor's house just burned down, so he figured out through trial and error how he can then become a fireman, for one, who is a journalist going to be a fireman, but then also, how am I going to fund my fire department, because he wasn't going to receive taxes, and that's where he founded our funding model that's still in place today with membership subscriptions. One of the things out in this particular area that we run into a lot is people who are mending a fence, say they're welding their horse fence or their pipe fence or grinding it, and that ends up causing a brush fire. And so that's one of the things these guys are trained to deal with, is these brush fires that start in that manner. And it's one of those things that is covered by our membership, obviously, but it's actually a hazard that is kind of unperceived a lot of times. So besides that, you would see rattlesnakes. We get daily calls for the rattlesnake that decided to camp out on the front patio or has crawled into the garage or something like that. Again, another service that's just covered within the membership. Smoke alarms, as we were discussing earlier, we do have a program where we go and do an annual home inspection. So our fire crew will come through your house, they'll check and make sure you have a defensible space, which we recommend being about 30 feet from your property. It just gives the opportunity that if there's a brush fire that we're going to have some time to get there and protect the structures that are on your property. They'll look at smoke alarms, they'll check carbon monoxide alarms, if in fact they need to be replaced, because they do have an expiration, that we'll go through and we can help replace those, either by purchase by the homeowner, or we do have some free programs that we can replace those alarms for you.
Yeah, that's great information. Also, what do you recommend for people to help keep them safe?
People who aren't familiar with this particular area don't always get the idea of how hot it can be in the here and how much water they may actually go through. So we always recommend taking an excessive amount of water. You know, they say you got to be drinking at least one of those small 8-ounce bottles of water every 15 minutes during exercise. And most people who come out here and decide, well, I'm just going to hike up this small mountain here, don't realize that it's so hot and how much they're going to sweat and how much they're going to lose. And that becomes a great danger, not only to the individual hiking, but then also to our crews who have to then come out and expend resources, put themselves in the heat to then rescue somebody off of a trail or a mountain or something like that. So always bring more water than you think you're going to need. Always bring a cell phone so you can call if you do run into danger, and then let somebody know where you're going. So you say, hey, I'm going to take off during this trail and I should be back by whatever time. So one thing we'd like to share is that right now we're in extreme drought and the fire danger is really high, especially in this area. Any areas with dense vegetation like we have throughout the North Scottsdale Rio Verde corridor have a higher potential for a large brush fire. Most of those being human caused, unfortunately. Some can be lightning strikes as we get further into the monsoon season, but our greatest threat is going to come from people just being careless. So we really want to encourage everybody throughout this area to be extremely careful, like we were talking about earlier, welding fences, using grinders, throwing out cigarettes, maybe that backyard campfire, or the fire pit that you leave unattended when you go to bed. Just make sure all that stuff's out, because everybody out here relies on the beauty and the pristine property for kind of what they love to be out in this area, and we really hate to see that get destroyed by just some carelessness.
Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today and letting us see the fire station, and all you guys are wonderful, and I just appreciate everything that you do for us and help keep us safe, and just thank you so much again, and thank you for watching.